We built this wheelhorse Group 4 Racing Lawnmower all winter last year for £1,500, but the big question is, how will it do in its first ever race? So we've come to the 333, 3 races, 3 drivers for 3 hours each to see how this thing will do.
Throw it in! Oh!
And here's our team. We've got my brother-in-law Richard, my father-in-law Paul, and myself on this mower for 9 hours for 3 very different races. So let's jump on board for practice. And this was actually the first time Richard had ever driven this mower. Paul and I had tried it at the double 4. But it's time for Richard to see how he goes. And he seemed to take to it well. Look at him fly past here, getting used to it. Definitely still riding it like a bug, just like I was. The driving style is subtly different, but mostly the same. So time for Richard to come in, and it was time for me to have a go.
Yeah, it's very just slalomy.
You're riding it like a bug, you're riding it like that.
How am I supposed to say it?
Like, let's go!
Now it was my turn. Try and see what this was like on a really big track.
Right, let's go, let's see what this thing can do.
And I'm not going to show you the entire lap because I'll show you my quali lap in a second.
Where are we going then?
But this wide open circuit was really, really fun to race on.
It feels good.
But a couple of laps later, I was going around here and just the engine note changed. Raising my hand.
Suddenly feels slow. Why are we running out of fuel?
Just felt like the mower was struggling a bit. So pitted, and we're going to check that out.
Feels like we're running out of fuel, but feels fast though. Let me tell you that.
What about gearing?
Gearing's perfect. Feels fast though. I think the rears need to go up a little bit.
Yeah, I thought you're tipping quite a bit. Like
Yeah, it's like whoa, whoa, all the time. The steering wheel is too high.
Yeah, you are.
It's like this that feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, I thought my forearm.
It's like my wrists are doing that, where I'm used to that.
Time for Paul to go out and also get used to this circuit. Now Paul has raced a bug, but a while ago has mostly been racing Group 2. So this Group 4 is a real driving style change for him. So time for him to get used to it. But actually he didn't have much time because the belt hopped off straight away. So we're just going to get a push back. Very kindly at Mower Madness, they have recovery. So these quads with a big tyre on the front. And they can push us back to the pits because this circuit is so big. If you had to push the mower back yourself, it's a long way. So our first recovery of this race weekend.
The belt's slipping. I can't turn the engine over.
And there's your diagnosis.
Just going around that front. Right, put it on pole then, Callum.
I'll try.
So after tightening up the spring tension to try and make sure we've got as much bite on that belt as we can.
Right, let's go. Quali time.
So it's time for qualifying, and I'm going to jump straight to my fastest lap. So coming through this final corner, absolutely flat out, just tipping it into this right, trying to slip the rear as much as possible. And now here I'm thinking about rotating the mower as early as possible in the corner. Because we're down on power, we need to be making sure we're on the throttle as early as possible. We've actually got this mower holding us up here. I'm going to cut to the inside, slide slightly over to make sure they don't think about hanging on around the outside. Now through the S's, tipping it in each time. Look at just how much I'm on 2 wheels. This mower was really wanting to tip up here. But again, being used to a lawn bug, I don't mind that too much. So I'm just trying to push it. You can ride it on 2 wheels just a little bit, but you don't want to overdo it. Otherwise you have to get off the throttle. You can see just how much time I'm spending on 2 wheels here. Really riding this like a lawn bug here. Tipping through this fast right. Now we're flat out all the way through here. And we want to get the mower rotated early again. Slipping through and then early on the throttle over this bumpy section through these slight S's. You can see just how different the track is to the normal BLMRA events where you've got a clear inside and outside. These are very sort of S-like around all these cones. Taking the shortest possible line through this one. Just about holding it flat here, and I'm going to tip the mower and stay on that fresh grass to rotate the rear. Just a little bit of a lift through there. Flat out through this section. This was so close to being flat out, this final corner, staying flat out, just a lift, back on the throttle and across the line.
You're riding out like a bug.
Oh, I am, yeah.
Yeah, and you're the only mower doing that. You actually, I think you did fit.
Okay.
And that is the face of someone with severe hand cramp.
Right, so just on my quali laps, I was fairly happy with them. Apparently I was sat in third for a bit and then dropped down to fifth, which, considering some of these guys are running 20 horsepower or 18 horsepower and we're running 13 and a half with a standard exhaust, I think that's pretty damn good. The mower was very tippy. I was driving it really on the edge, like up like a bug. Paul said you're driving it like a bug, and I was like, yeah, I know, but it is quite tippy. Wheel horses are known for that. But let's see how we come out at the end of the session. Richard's just gone out. I've got really bad hand cramps, so I need to get some water.
So just like that, it was time to grid up. This was getting exciting now.
Right, here we are on the grid, and we have managed to qualify in 6th place, which, considering they can all run more power than us, we're happy with that. Let's see how this start goes.
So with everyone lined up on the grid, we're in 6th place. Just time to get the camera started. Again, links are all in the description for all the equipment I use. Look at us go there. So a few minutes later, it was time for the start. The bell rings. We're going to run across the circuit and try and get the cutoff in. And actually on this mower, the cutoff is in an awkward place, so I don't quite get it in there. But actually, it was still a decent start, getting the engine going. And we're going to come out into this first corner in 3rd place. So starting on the grid in 6th, we're coming round in 3rd, and these guys ahead are going to absolutely disappear. They're all running 18 horsepower engines or something like that. I believe they're allowed to run up to 21, so we're just going to try and hold our ground here on our 14 horsepower BLMRA spec mower. And actually through this twisty section, it had really dried up. You can see the dust here as we're coming around the bottom corner. We've just got to make sure we hit all of our apexes, be very, very precise with our driving. I think that's where we could make a difference and carry some more speed on this mower. Tipping it in through these corners. You can see just how much time I'm spending up on 2 wheels. Later on in the race, we're going to have a lot of rain, so that's all going to change. But that's all for a little bit later. Gone in just a little bit deep, turning it through. You can see driving round on 2 wheels towards that marshal. I'm sure they were scared for a little bit. You can see here coming through this top section, carrying as much speed as I can. And again, there's Toby on the 360 mower just behind me, so I'm sure he's going to come past. Again, with 21 horsepower, you might expect it, and I've just run a little bit wide there, tipping in through this twisty section. Actually, through here was where we were strongest.
How's it going, guys?
So where I am in 59 minutes, we're going to be rocking.
And yet 9 hours still to go in this race. Coming through this bottom corner, you can see Toby's caught up to me through that lap, and he's going to come past. You can hear that ripping V-twin fly by. And I was intrigued to see here how we'd hold through this twisty section. So tipping in through the right, sort of a semi-fast corner there. Now just dabbing the brakes, one of the only places you really need the brake pedal. Again, just a little bit, but you can kind of coast through this corner. Hitting the apex is really precise. Actually, I think Toby's going in a little bit hot, so just by applying a bit more brakes, we can carry some speed. But now look at this up this hill. With that extra power, they just drive away from us as we're climbing up this slight gradient all the way through these S's. You can see just the power of those mowers. But it was really, really good. We were fighting, holding our own. Still 4th place in this race. A few laps in, you can see me just tipping up on 2 wheels. Fairly happy driving there. Driving a lawn bug does prepare you for that kind of driving style, and I was willing to use it. I think our tyre pressures were slightly wrong in this race, but anyway, don't worry about that. As we're tipping through here, we're going to get overtaken by another wheel horse. 333, another really, really fast mower. And actually, getting on the throttle a little bit earlier, you can see I'm apexing with a little less speed, so we can drive out the corner faster rather than driving into it. I'm sure he's just using that to overtake us, because as we come through this bottom section, he's going to drive away, just making sure I'm hitting every single apex. That was the really important thing here. You can see just on the exit, I actually closed, but then he drives away from me. Now these mowers are slightly different. This is a standard mower, this number 2. We don't race against mowers like this. So they're ride-ons, but they haven't had any of the drivetrain changed. They're allowed a fixed pulley, like a fixed pulley ratio. And other than that, they're still running standard gearboxes. And you can see the rest of them in that class we're about to overtake. And when they're together, they're actually pretty hard to overtake, similar to a Group 2 in R Racing. So as we're coming through here, I'm already thinking about where I'm going to overtake them. I'm thinking around the outside of this next corner, as they're battling, we're just going to take the outside line, carry all of the momentum, double overtake. There we go. Into the next corner, carrying some momentum and driving out of the corner. Now things were going really, really well at this stage, and you can tell by me saying that it was about to turn. As I come through here, familiar noise of a belt hopping off. You can see here, just I lose all drive, hand up in the air to let everyone know something's wrong. I pulled to the inside of the circuit. And here we're going to try and see if we can fix this. Tipping the mower up on 2 wheels. This is difficult on your own. You can see that belt is twisted up all over the place. So I had to get it on at the front, then get it on at the rear. Just try and get this clutch to work, and very kindly someone's going to come over to help me.
I need you, could you help me? Put the clutch pedal down, hold the mower.
And now with Richard here as well. And Paul.
Yeah, now clutch.
There we go.
Oh no, clutch down, clutch down. Yeah.
And just getting that hooked over the clutch system. You can see how this all works now.
Right, let go. Right.
And now we're going to see if I can drive around it. With that belt hopping off, obviously you never exactly know why that happens, but there was a bump I went over at high speed and the belt has come off. Obviously these belts do stretch. This is a brand new belt we've put on here. And even with that additional tension we put in qualifying to make sure we didn't have any belt slip, you just don't know how it's going to do. So here I'm being careful through all the bumpy bits, knowing that when I'm on the brakes and on the bumps, that's where it's most likely to come off. But actually we've got some mowers to navigate ahead. We're still in this race, still on the lead lap, but a few people have driven past us now, so we've got 727 to navigate and number 50. But actually, belt comes off again, and you can see here, the belt has got between the top hat and the axle.
I'm going to get back to the pits now.
Good?
Yeah, thank you.
And we're going to drive back, and this very kind recovery guy is going to follow us back to the pits. And we're going to zip ahead to coming back in, try and figure out what the issue is here.
Belt keeps coming off. I think I've shredded it. Put a new belt on it?
Well, I ain't got a new one outside. That next one's smaller belt with a smaller gear.
Okay. Well, we'll carry on then. Sorted. Yeah. It feels like it's open.
So without us knowing exactly what the issue is or having any clear way to fix it, I went back out to see if I could drive around it and keep the belt on, or find a way to do it, even if it meant through this first race, so just putting the belt back on every couple of laps. But anyway, stuck into another battle. Again, these guys were next to us in the pit lane, so having a good friendly battle there. But you can tell, as soon as I get by them, that happens again. Time to put another belt back on. Getting pretty fed up with doing this at this stage. And this time, it was terminal on that one.
Someone come to help me.
So I'm waving at the marshals here to try and get them to tell the recovery guy to come and push me back. So I've got a signal from them, and now I'm just going to try and push this back to the pit. So frustrated. But again, this is why we're here. I had to keep reminding myself, we're here to figure out all of the weak spots, all of the problems, to make sure this thing can get through a 12-hour next year. So we did what we knew we should have done earlier, and we put the smaller gear and the smaller belt on, hoping for some more tension. And you can see here, that's definitely the case, because even with the clutch down, Richard can't get the engine to turn over without driving the wheels. So we're going to bump start him. Now what you don't know is while we were doing all of that, we had to tip up the mower on 2 wheels, and it kept pouring fuel everywhere and near the exhaust. So at this stage, we'd turned the fuel off and we'd forgotten to put it back on. So Richard put the fuel back on here. On the carb, there's a little switch to turn it off and on. But again, because there's no clutch, we couldn't get it started. So Richard had to ask the recovery guy to give him a bump start. And that did the trick. So Richard getting back into the race. And he's going to get back straight back into another battle here. You can see the mowers up ahead. He catches them up. He's having a really good fight here, as we've got some rain starting to come down, slippery conditions, running wide just a little bit, and Richard's got a good run up the hill. Going to try around the outside of this handlebar mower here. Not quite. Again, they've got a bit more power, so they can eke out their way up the straight. And there we go. Richard's frustrated because another belt has hopped off. He finally got himself into a battle, having a really good fight there. And again, the belt's shredded. So got pushed back up.
Right, I reckon it would have got back, but that was about it. Let's have a...
Now, do stick around with us, because we do get this fixed in a second.
Well, they don't know the fuel was pissing out, so I turned the fuel off. Yeah, I realised that we were straight away, but mate, just drive into me.
So let me explain what was going on. After putting a tighter belt on and a smaller gear, that didn't solve our problems. What was actually happening was some of this mechanism was catching on the belt and allowing the belt to go underneath the top hat. So what we did was bend some of it out of the way, this piece here, and then also lower the top hat down just slightly so the belt couldn't get between that and the axle. And we were hoping that was going to help it keep the belt on. Now it was time to find out on a very slippery circuit.
Right, you probably haven't seen much of that because we had so many issues. We had the belt slipping off, lots going on. We basically missed an hour and a half of this 3-hour race. So we're just getting sorted out. I've got my human condom on to try and keep me dry. It's very wet. Paul is currently out there sliding all over the place and I've got 25 minutes left to go in the stint. So let's see how this mower handles in the wet. That's what I'm really interested to see. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So time to call Paul in a second.
So as I put my helmet on, Paul saw that. I didn't know if he was coming in or not.
We'll see whether he comes in or not. Foggy gloves. Ugh.
And in that last stint, during the breakdown, the camera ran out, so I've got that charged up. I'm ready to go back on the mower. And look how muddy Paul is. It's soggy out there. So just topping up the mower, getting into this muddy seat, and here was when we found out another weird issue. The mower didn't like starting when it was warm. We finally got it going there.
Right, let's go. Let's see how this thing handles in the wet.
And now for some fun sliding around. Watch this.
Sliding. Throw it in. Oh! Yes. Oh, we could think.
I can't tell you how fun this was. Where a lawn bug often runs out of grip and you're scared of tipping, this thing was just gliding through the corners. And you can see just struggling to get drive out of that corner. There was absolutely no grip where everyone had been ruining the ground. But look at how fun this is. You have to turn in so early, get the mower rotated, hard on the throttle, driving out of the corner. Just want you to take a note of how clean I am right now, because that's about to change. But anyway, driving hard into this corner. We've already got a mower to try and overtake. Now these wet conditions were really going to play into our hands here, because the extra power that some of these mowers have, not all of them, but most of them, isn't going to matter when there's no traction. And actually our traction will be similar. We're running similar tyres on a similar chassis. And so this could help us really gain some laps back in this race. Obviously we'd lost loads already, but here we're trying to find out how our pace compares in the wet. I'm taking the inside line there, just trying to find any grip I can. You can see this is so much fun. This is what we do it for. And actually these are my first wet laps of the entire year, and I really felt like we had some pace. I got on this mower and it felt so natural in the rain. Watch this, a couple of mowers sliding around in front of me, just trying to pick my way through here up the 82. Down the inside, we got the mower rotated, driving our way out the corner. You can see the rear just sliding around all over the place. You had to kind of place that rear wheel on the outside of the track that had a bit of grip. You can see here now the camera's starting to get covered. This is a true representation of what I can see through these goggles. But actually, because you can't see it, I'm going to skip through some of this section. And actually, this is what I could see through my goggles at this stage, just kind of following the mud in front of me. Even the 360 camera's struggling to deal with all of this. And it was actually really starting to become a problem, wiping my goggles, and then they get all muddy again. It was so hard to see here. You can see, I just cannot see anything. So I'm actually trying to pull my goggles off. Look at that. Got them all over the place, just trying to see anything. I have driven in the wet like this with no goggles before, and you kind of keep your eyes out of the mud a bit, but you can see I'm struggling here. Luckily, there's only a couple of laps left to go, and as we come through here, this is as much as I can see of the checkered flag. And that was race 1 done. 2 more to go. Time to check in on this mower.
Well then.
Oh, goodness me. I couldn't see anything.
No, I couldn't see you. If I didn't saw you put your helmet on, I would have kept going. I wasn't sure what's going on.
It's like they don't look that bad, but I just couldn't.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
Right, we need to,
the belt's slipping a lot now. I know it's hard to tell with everything, but even when I was coming up through the pit lane, then it was like I couldn't see anything.
No, that's why I come in for goggle. I couldn't see a thing.
I was just like,
take them off.
I was just following the big brown snake.
They just give you a black flag as soon as you take your goggles off.
So it's been about an hour since the race. I've not been filming it because it's boring, but we've had to be going over the mower to check everything over. The carb was bleeding out fuel, and we think that's why it wouldn't start during the race. So we've changed and replaced that. We put a bigger gear on it because the belt was slipping towards the end. That'll give us more bite on the belt and also a bit more tension. And then also the bonnet was rattling around like anything. You probably heard it on the onboards. So we've just bolted this all up and we're running it, making sure everything's good. You can see I'm so muddy. Gross. Good morning. It is race time after a long, hard day yesterday. We are back. There's Richard. We're hoping he can have a good race. Through all of yesterday's issues, look what we've done. We've qualified on pole. Qualified on pole, mate.
Yeah, quality. Same strategy as the double four last year. Stick it on pole for the second race.
And then, yeah, go and win it.
So with the mower lined up and the camera started, it was time to get going. Richard running across, starting from pole here. We're hoping for a really good launch. And here, he just couldn't get the engine cut off in. It's in a really awkward place on this mower.
Tricky start.
You can see it's not going well. And then finally gets the mower going. And with no practice laps, this is Richard going in blind here. And look, you can see it's really quite slippery already this morning. As he's turning into this top corner, following the snake of mowers ahead. Can we gain back some of those places we lost at the start of the race there?
Richard couldn't get the cut off in. It's really tricky on that mower. We need to fix that. But still a decent start. There's been no practice this morning, nothing. So Richard's going up there at full pace onto a track he hasn't seen all night. I know it's the same, but it's gonna be very slippery.
But actually, Richard was adapting well, already overtaking a couple of mowers.
Let's gash it and bash it, absolutely flying.
So listen to that 21 horsepower V-twin flying through this corner. Look how sideways he can get and just drive the mower out of there. Richard actually following a similar angle, turning into this top corner and just trying to hunt down the guys ahead, pick them off one by one, going around the outside of that one there into this turn one section. And I went to go see him down the bottom of the field. You can see just how slippery it is at the bottom there, trying to get the drive out the slowest corner on the circuit. Richard's being hounded by some mowers with a bit more power, dragging their way up the hill.
Go on, buddy.
And it really is about conserving momentum here. Richard going out for a 45-minute stint in the wet, doing really, really well here. Really, really solid stint. We're all learning here you can really use your hips to turn the mower and rotate it through some of these fast corners. Raising his hand to come in for our first pit stop in this race. Going to come and stop and get some fuel in.
Is it?
And then it's Paul's turn to hop on. Getting the engine started. And then back out into this race.
So Richard's just come in from his first stint. That's our first like full half an hour, so really happy with that. Richard got off the mower, was over the moon with the pace. Said he could have done more, which is great. Paul's just gone out. Unfortunately, the live timing isn't working, so I'd love to know where we are. But mid-pack, I think today. We've got 37 laps to gain back, but we'll just see how this goes. We want to keep circulating, find out any issues with the mower, and just see what it does over a long run. Yeah, let's go.
And Paul was really flying in this first stint, dragging their way up the hill past one of these Mower Madness mowers, trying to find his way, looking around the outside and just finding a bit more grip out there, driving clean around this mower, around one of these, all of them are big, wide, sweeping corners, but that was one of them he made his way past. And actually, he's going to end up in a really good scrap in this stint. Paul was really having a good fight with some of these mowers that were on similar pace actually overall to us. We were really happy with our stint long pace. When the mower was running well, we felt like we had similar lap times to them and could deliver them consistently. But here, Paul has been hounded by this orange mower with the handlebars, taking a slightly compromised line, and actually he's going to try around the outside, but Paul's not taking that line down, and so he's going to keep on holding on to it. Driving past us in the pits, you can see he's really excited. Obviously, so much work has gone into this mower over the winter. It's great to be using it. And he's going to try around the outside here. Still fighting hard. And this was great to watch from the pit lane.
Go on, Paul. Yay!
But just as things were going so well, Paul pits before we were expecting him to. And if you look here, the steering wheel has come loose. So as he's driving down the pit lane, just showing us what the issue is, shaking the wheel around, look, you can see how loose that is driving in a straight line. So we need to get that fixed as soon as possible. Oh, the bolt snapped.
Oh, the steering wheel.
Paul's just come in with a problem, so we're quickly getting that fixed. The steering wheel nearly came off. It snapped the bolt that was holding it in. It's time for me to get on.
Oh, it's running lovely.
Is it? Yeah. Right, let's go. See what this thing can do in the dry. I'm excited.
And actually, the conditions have changed a lot since I last came out, so I was intrigued to see how this thing would do.
Right, tidy. Let's go. Oh, good amount of grip. Seat feels comfortable. Let's go. Hey. If you enjoy these videos, make sure to subscribe.
And you can hear I was having an absolute blast on the mower here. It was so much fun in these fast, curvy tracks. But just as things were going so well, you know what I'm going to say now. We come through this bottom corner, and just like that, the belt comes off. These are the teething issues we knew we were going to have with this mower. Let me be clear about that. This is why we're here. We're racing at a club we don't normally race at, with a mower that's brand new, and the reason we're doing it is to learn what this thing can do, what it's like, what we need to change, and what problems we're going to have. And it's been very evident the belt hopping off is definitely one of them. And you can hear another half a lap later it comes off again here.
Oh, not again. We need a new belt. Yeah, let's leave it off, just push me back.
Alright, mate. No
Thank
problem.
you, the belt's dead.
So I realised the belt was broken. Here it's stretched and then hopped off and then gone under the T-drive, which has shredded it. So here we need a bit more belt tension. And then also a couple of things on the mower to make sure the belt can't hop off.
You have to really, yeah?
So some guides to stop it doing this. You can see Richard helping me get a new belt on. This one's a little bit smaller, so hopefully we'll stay on a bit better.
Yeah, we're on.
Not bad, mate. Right. It's over the really big bumps that keep popping off.
What we were doing, going wide and come back across them just to avoid them. Oh, fuel on.
Just as I drive out, Richard remembers we turned the fuel off because it was leaking all over the exhaust when we tipped up the mower.
Oh, right, new belt.
So we didn't want to get caught out by that again. Heading back out into this race. Only lost a lap or two in that there. Didn't mean we were dropping down the order, but again, as I said, that's not what we're here fighting for. But in front of us, we do have a good battle we can get stuck into. This was what was really fun about this race. All these mowers had very differing performance, like in how they delivered their performance. You can see these guys start to pull away from me up the hill, but through some of the more technical corners, I really felt this mower was so agile and we could hang with them. Here, me just taking a shorter overall route helped me get up the inside here. We've got 108 here, just coming through that corner. Again, I'm going to take a more line of sight route to just offer a nose up the inside. No, not quite. They managed to pull out the lead here. So swing in a bit more momentum through this corner. Now through this twisty section, I know there's going to be an opportunity. I just need to be in the right place to grab it. So I'm trying to get on the throttle as early as possible. Can't draw alongside there. Now this next corner, try the same again. We've got a very technical hairpin off camber coming here. So I'm going to swing, get the mower turned in. Again, I just chose the wrong patch of mud to have the rear tyres trying to grip on. And these guys are battling ahead. I just swing around the outside of one of them. Still chasing 108. As we come through this corner here, I've got a really good run. I'm on the throttle earlier here. Switching back to the inside. Are we going to go for a move on the brakes? Yes, we are. Up the inside. Through the fast corner, they were swinging out to carry some momentum, but I was able to sacrifice that line. 360. Matt comes past on that mower, and they were leading at this point. Absolutely flying on that thing. Again, big V-twin. They actually ran a T-drive for their steering. Very unconventional mower. We'll have a look at that later on in this video. But right now, we've got to navigate these two mowers, and actually, we've got a good run from the inside. And 360 doesn't want any part in that battle, so they're just going to drive on past. I'm going to try and offer a nose up the inside. Not quite, and we're really getting held up here through some of these S's where I again, deliver the performance of this mower through some of those sweeping corners. They're backing off a bit, but then frustratingly they're faster down the straights. Next mower to pick off. This is really what it was like on the mower during the race. Just next mower, next mower, next mower. It was so much fun just making all these overtakes, trying to progress as much as we can through this race. And one of the things I was working on like this was trying to take different lines to keep my foot flat, and that one worked. Now on a lawn bug you just can't do things like that, but on a Group 4 when you've got the mower turned, because it's so wide and so long, you're not going to roll, you're not going to dig in. And here actually grabbing two mowers in one move.
Double overtake. Let's go. This mower is feeling amazing. It's so good. It's the perfect balance through some of these fast corners.
And although we were having some teething issues, the big positive here was that the mower was really fast. It was feeling so competitive. And actually we would take that. We'd take the teething issues.
That was a good stint.
But with the raw pace, knowing we can fix the problems.
Rich, it's kind of just one mower wide through all the fast corners, but the mower's feeling amazing. The balance was like spot on.
That's why I was saying to Richard, I think we're getting used to riding it now.
Yeah.
I know the ground's a little bit greasier still, but you were staying flat today. You didn't get up on two wheels hardly at all.
No. So just got off my stint. Things are looking pretty good. We've got the live timing working. But first of all, the mower was feeling amazing. The balance was so good. You probably heard me on the mower go, yes, this is great. You could just tip it into some of the fast corners and plant your foot and it would just hold. Like, I felt like one of the quickest mowers out there. In reality, I probably wasn't, but you know, top 5 pace, definitely, I think. Anyway, just looked at the live timing and we're currently 10th. And we are 8 laps back, running similar-ish times to the top 3. So we're doing 118s, they're doing 114s, 116s. Bearing in mind they've got so much more power, I think that's pretty good. Happy with that, let's go.
And Richard was in a really good battle out on his stint. And this bottom corner was really good for us to get good drive out of that section. And Richard managing to come past there and now trying to pick off another mower, taking alternate lines, just trying to find any way we're faster, drawing up alongside and up the inside into this next corner. Really great overtake. Richard really getting into a groove here. A couple of laps later, the rain started to come down, starting to get slippery and just cutting back and then going around the outside of this corner.
He's just limbering up to go out in the rain. How are you feeling, Dad?
Ecstatic. Looking forward to get this on.
Nice muddy wet kit. Lovely.
With Paul ready to get on the mower, our plans were about to be dashed in a second, but Richard going around the outside at number 50 here. We also wanted to make sure that was still okay. And actually, as we come through this section, there's going to be a red flag.
Red flag over there.
So Richard did as he was told and pulled to a controlled stop here. I don't think some others saw the flag.
Oh, it was a stop, no?
We're just getting ready to put Paul on and there's been a red flag. Someone's come off the mower and stayed down. They're hoping they're alright. They're just checking him now. But what was annoying, for our race anyway, is that we were just about to be in the pit lane. Had we had the pit stop now, we would have got a free 2 minutes or whatever. Because the pit lane's so long, you lose so much race time. That would have been ideal. But anyway, so we're going to check the steering now, probably change the camera battery and then also put some fuel in. But actually, this could still work out for us. Richard coming in. What a mate. We should gain from there. Go catch a quad. So, everyone else was queuing up behind the quad bike for a rolling start. And actually, we think Paul, after the pit lane, is going to manage to get out in front of the quad, and he did. Right, so that worked out perfectly. Although there's a red flag, the guy's okay, so that's good. But what happened was they're forming up behind the quad to get started. We managed to get out ahead of the quad, and Paul's gained most of a lap back. It looks like they're going to do one more lap before they start. That was a free pit stop. Perfect. We like that, especially with how long the pit lane is here. That could matter. So straight after this restart, Paul got stuck in here and ended up having a really great battle, fighting his way through some of these mowers, making several overtakes, but only 2 laps later.
He hasn't come.
So the steering had come loose again, so we were going to try and help him. And then also the belt will come off, so he's getting pushed back here. Very frustrating, considering how well things were going in this second race. We were really happy with it. But we're going to do the belt and then also fix the steering in this stop, and then it's going to be time for me to get back on.
Hang on, wobble the steering.
You probably won't do it now, will it?
And now we're just trying to find out where the loose part is, because it's not on the boss as it was earlier.
It's in there.
Ah, it's there.
There.
So that universal
Trying to put it
joint
on,
had come
but then
loose.
you came over,
So we're just tightening that up.
We were calling you in anyway, next
Well, I
lap.
can see you steering with your helmet on. I got
So it's time for my second stint. After fixing the steering and getting the belt back on.
Right, let's go.
But actually, we're still wearing the high vis from when I had to put that on, you know, thinking I was going to go on the track to go and help Paul. So here I was driving around as a rookie with a high vis on, but anyway, trying not to think about that. So we come out this bottom corner, focusing on trying to get a good drive out the corner. And actually, the next lap, I thought, you know what? I knew one of the marshals, so I thought I'm just going to drop it off with the marshal, save thinking about it, flapping around all the
Come on,
time.
Richard.
Here comes Callum, our novice driver. You can tell he's a novice. Oh no, he's taking his bib off. He's taking his bib off.
And now, because of our issue, I was just focused on trying to gain back as many positions as we could and put in the best stint I possibly could. Currently doing half an hour stints.
What are you doing?
And here's me getting frustrated, driving across me here. But anyway, all fine. We all have every right to be on the track. I just need to try and find a more solid move to make sure they have to back out of the corner. With this very S-curvy, open track, everyone follows one line and it's so hard to make an overtake. There's no way to differentiate your speed really, because there's no braking and there's no outside and inside. Trying to find an overlap's really hard, but I finally managed to do it there. And then we've got another mower to overtake here, and I'm going to try around the outside, and then we've got another left-hander coming and just keeping it as fast as I can, as high momentum as I can around the outside. And you can see how much fun I was having. Look at this overtake. I was loving this one. Just take the apex.
Oh, maybe a double.
We've got a double overtake out of that one corner. That was definitely where we were strongest. And I can't tell you, coming from someone who's normally in the middle class, just going around and picking off mowers was so much fun. And here I was trying to battle for another one, and actually got the checkered flag, and that was the end of this race. Such a good second race. We had our issues, but the mower felt fast, and that was fun. That was so much fun.
That was good.
And you got 10 minutes where they're going to drop the flag for it.
Yeah.
We were that.
I think our steering damper's fallen off.
Yeah, you're right.
I saw someone with it picking it up, and then the steering got horrible. Well, it's just snatchy.
Yeah.
I see why they use steering dampers. Oh dear. Look at that. So with 6 hours out of a 9-hour race now done, it was Paul's time to start the race, and it was a rolling start this time. Starting in 4th place. 3 places up from where we were last time. And Paul was pushing hard. So, just trying to overtake this mower ahead, just trying to get the best start we possibly can as we come through this top corner. Paul's having a look up the inside. The move's not quite there on the brakes, just slotting in again through this twisty section where we knew we were strong. Paul's all over the back of him, one mower running wide, and actually going to follow around the outside here. This was turning into a really good scrap. Paul's making some great overtakes. Watch this one. Been trying to battle this guy for a little while. He's going to take the outside line, trying to carry the momentum, open up this next corner, keeping his foot flat on the outside of the track, running all the way around the outside. And they're going to cut in to grab the move up into the twisty section. You love to see that. You love to see that. That's a fun overtake. Great racing. But after all of that work, again, we were going to have another belt problem jumping off here. So at this point we know it's not a belt issue. Like, we tried new belts, we tried smaller ones, larger ones, different gears. We definitely needed to put some supports in the mower, some guides to make sure the belt couldn't jump off. And that's a big lesson from this weekend. So after putting another belt back on, fuel back on, time to put the driver back on. And big thanks to this guy here. I didn't grab your name, but actually he's the one who's been donating so many fresh belts to us after we arrived very ill prepared. And Paul had gone out again, and actually we're going to have another problem. And this is how this last race went. I'm going to skip through it fairly quickly because we just had so many problems with fuel turned off, with belts coming off, all sorts. But some really good racing as well. Look at these guys ahead. One coming around the outside, and Paul just trying to find his way through. And around the outside again, but now Paul's boxed in. He can't, so he's going to have to follow the 333 wheel horse through. He's up the inside, but now hasn't quite got the drive through that corner. He's going to try the momentum move around the outside and actually goes for a lunge up the inside of a few corners later. And having a really, really good battle here. Then just after another belt problem, we had another one here with the belt hopping off, Paul having to tip the mower up, put the belt back on, drive back to the pits. Then we try and fix it, add some more belt tension. And actually here we're going to try a smaller belt, a newer belt, see if that works any better. And actually Paul went out for another couple of laps and then had another issue.
So not the best start. What?
I think we're getting pushed back again.
Being pushed back again. Oh, we've had 3 push breakdowns now. Fuel and belts and all sorts. I was just getting ready to get back on.
And that's kind of how Paul's stint went.
Yeah, it seems to be like a different track. Like the steering wheel up again as well.
And after the smooth track, albeit wet, before,
It seems to.
now it's been dry for a while. The mowers are really turning up the track. It's getting really rutted and bumpy. And here we had a problem. Felt like the throttle was stuck on, and actually it was just that sleeve there on the throttle cable. So pulling the cut-off out there to just protect the engine. A bit of a shock that happening.
Right, let's see if we can keep this belt on. We've lost some of that as well.
So now I went out to try and drive around it here. Try and stay away from the bumps and not be on the throttle while you're over the bumps as well. But also drive as fast as we can. As we go up the hill here, he's just got more power than me. I'm going to try and go for a move, cut it to the inside, and we've got a good drive out of this corner. We're up the inside, but you know what happens 2 laps later. Another quick pit stop,
Nearly
just
there.
to see some sights, not to put a belt back on.
Go on then.
There we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Belt back on, time to go again, see if we can drive around it. And I came straight out into another battle, again with the 77. We keep finding ourselves on track together here. These two battling ahead. I think there was a bit of contact there. Actually looking around to say sorry, but driving all over the place. I was a bit worried he wasn't going to see me here. Now swinging our way around the outside. And you know after we fought for a position, fought hard for a big overtake, you know what's coming. Belt pops off, yay!
I'm just going to drive this really differently. I've got to let it roll through these corners so the belt doesn't hold off. Rolling, rolling, rolling. And no throttle while there's bumps. Yeah, there we go, that's okay.
And actually this worked for about 30 minutes here. This new method of driving, but then, just as I said thumbs up, it hopped off in a completely unusual spot.
We need a smaller belt.
Smaller belt?
Yeah.
So I knew it was getting worse, so I just had to get this belt back on to drive back to the pits to put a different belt on.
We need a smaller belt or something.
Hang on, buddy.
Okay.
What we'll do, we'll get it in. I'm going to lift the front pulley up a bit because he's jumping off the top of the front.
Yeah.
When it's up, Tanny, you want to start taking the seat off?
For what? We're going to have a look at it.
Tension. Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
So it's time to try and put some more tension on this belt, because we think that must be an issue.
Oh look, this has come off, but we should be fine with 3.
Yeah.
Actually, being pushed back by the quad loaded the seat in a way we didn't expect, actually, so that had broken off.
Right, 'cause that's sitting on there.
Yeah.
Right, can you put a belt on it now, huh?
So now we're just comparing the belt
There should be
tension.
plenty of tension on there.
Yeah.
So that difference is all tension on that belt. But actually what we're going to do is on the spring holder, drill another hole with a bit more tension, put that on.
I'll be steady with it for the first few.
Yeah, I think we need to nurse it now.
Thank you, boys.
So our new strategy was just to get this to the end of the race here.
Let's see if it's better. I'm gonna have to go steady to start with. Still 2 hours to go in this race. Look at that.
And actually, things were going really well. 10 minutes in, I got myself in this battle, trying to move around the outside here, carrying a bit more momentum, getting up alongside this mower, and then he turns in on me. You can hear what I thought of that. Oh, listening back. Look, things are always worse in your helmet on the mower. But I just felt like it was not very considerate of another mower who was alongside there. And actually, seeing those two battle, I didn't want any part of that. So I took a matte approach and drove around the cone, and off I go. And actually, this was happening quite a lot. Look at this. You tell me in the comments what you think here. I wonder if we just race a bit differently. Here I've got my nose up the inside, but you can see there. The mower just shows the attitude that they're turning in, and I don't think he realised I was there. And then I make my way up the inside. Look, I think it must be me because this keeps happening. I show a nose, and actually in the BLMRA, like, the other driver would make sure they make an effort to give you space. Not give you the position, but give you space. And there they turn in. I think it must just be a different style of racing that I'm not used to. But anyway, that was it. That was our stint over. And actually, the belt stayed on there. Not bad.
Classic. Just be really smooth on the throttle and the brake down the bottom corner.
What, the hairpin, yeah?
Yeah, I haven't pushed it and it hasn't come off, so I think just carry on doing that. Just let it coast through all the corners. Everything else feels good though.
Cheers for the rain, Callum.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate.
And actually, so far, every time Richard had got on the mower, it started raining.
All right now, yeah?
Yeah. That bit more tension, I think it's fine.
But I brought that front pulley up 5 mil, so whether...
So then, that was another good stint. Just with that extra bit of belt tension and Paul moved the pulley, this is all the fine tuning we knew we'd have to do. That made a massive difference. So the belt was staying on. I was still going steady through that bottom corner where the belt keeps wanting to jump off. But we were just chatting then, you can't help but race this mower. It feels like it wants to go. Like it's happiest at 100%, which is such a good sign. No one came past me in that whole stint. I was only a second off the leader and they've got 21 horsepower. So.
And actually, Richard, 20 minutes into his stint, was having a couple of really good battles, finding his way around the outside of the 505 there. And this was the final straw because the belt was going to hop off again. And this was getting really quite draining, not long left to go. And we're just still having these issues no matter what we did. We threw everything at it.
The belt was inverted, that's why it's jumping off.
And the belt would be great for a while and then stretch and there'd just not quite be enough tension. I went out to try and drive around it. And again, had another problem, and this was only in the final stint.
Yeah.
And so Paul's suggesting we just limp it home here, and I think that's a good idea.
So I'm not sure you saw that. Basically, the circular disc that holds the belt on at the front sheared. I think that meant the belt was coming off. And then in that particular time when the belt came off, it went under the top hat and chewed itself up. We only have one more belt left, and it's the wrong size. So we're just going to put it on to cross the line. There's only 30 minutes left, 15, 20, I'm actually not sure, something like that left. So we've repaired it so it'll drive over the line to finish, and that'll do.
So we went marshalling and actually saw the 360 come by a couple of times, and then there was a red flag, so got to have a little look around it. You can see the mufflers all in the nose there, big V-twin at the front. As I said, there's a T-drive powering all that steering. Left foot braking, right foot throttle, which is a bit different. Steering wheel, very, very different to how we see it. And actually here, we came overall last. But we're super happy with the pace. And that's what we're taking away from this. We've gone and put on guides for the belt to make sure it doesn't hop off anymore. And you're going to see this mower back in another race very soon. Subscribe.